So one of the things, if you've been diagnosed with ADHD, ADD, and have a ton of anxiety or have been diagnosed with any type of anxiety, one of the key things that I would encourage you to just check in with yourself is, how are you and where are you with overwhelm? Because if you're experiencing overwhelm, this is extremely, extremely common with ADHD. And it is often misdiagnosed in teen girls, specifically in women. But it gets, kind of passed off as anxiety. Not that that's any small thing, because anxiety, if you've experienced that, or panic, is not a good time. But overwhelm, that's a whole ball of wax of itself. And we get up here, and it consumes, and it goes over and over and over. And when we're in that place of overwhelm, literally it can feel like I don't have thoughts, I don't know what to do. And this is where people will often get into the point of procrastination, or kind of holding off, pulling back from doing something. And partners, family members, friends, co-workers can get a little pissy sometimes, because they'd be like, oh, so you're really good at remembering the things you want, but not these things. And it is an interesting observation. I mean, most of us procrastinate on things we don't like to do. That's kind of standard. But if this is a pattern that you're noticing repeating within yourself, you might want to look at why. Because if the kind of procrastination is a form of avoidance, it could be because there's overwhelm. And that's where you kind of want to dive in and see what's going on. Because again, there's a root, there's a rule, a belief. And if it's got a limiting factor, you want to take a peek at it. So again, all of these labels are super cool, and they have so much meaning. But what that means for each individual is up to you, because we've got to take charge of our health in the best way possible. And with some of these things, we got to clap back. We got to say to our mental health in moments. And trust me, I am not speaking of this ignorantly. I speak from experience. I have had a lot of letters. I've had ADHD, TBIs, OCD. I've had PTSD and eating disorders, so ED, OCD, like all of these things I've been diagnosed with and had different letters assigned to me at different times. But here's what's really cool. If you've noticed, I don't attach to them. I understand them, and then I figure out if they don't serve me, I want to work around it, but I got to be aggressive. It is not an easy path. People, there's a reason people do the self-growth work, and then they decide, I'm out of here. They get to a point, they meet that resistance, which you've heard me speak about before. And when we're getting that resistance, we are getting close to something huge, something really important for you to move through in this lifetime. And that's where the only person who can decide how bad you want it is you. And there's no judgment, there's no race. But if it's repeated again, you're going to hear me say it, it's needed. So if it's resurfacing, find out why, what's going on, and yeah, just take a little poke around. And they're helpful, but don't attach to any of it. We don't attach to the things we don't like. And if you think about the things that you kind of in the past have not liked, not wanted to, even an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend, we don't always mention them, right? Because they're in the past. Doesn't mean they didn't exist, doesn't mean that they haven't had a purpose in our path, helped us learn a few things about ourselves. But we're not still attached to them, so we don't talk about them all the time. It's not our current state, it's not our current relationship. And if you are still talking about it, well, that's a different conversation. And that goes back to consumption and potentially not letting go of something that happened for you in that relationship. So again, just food for thought. And I like to kind of evoke and provoke thoughts, conversations, and see where people's heads and hearts are at with these things. Because I think the more we talk as a collective, the more we bring these things up, especially those of us who've had the experience. And come on, we've all had some experience with a little heartbreak, a little bit of pain, things that we don't necessarily want to revisit. And it's not about revisiting it. It's about switching up the energy of it. If it's not working for you, let's figure it out. And in case you forget, I will be right here to remind you.